Greetings, this is Mark G. Young, and this is my t-shirt tale. Well, this particular shirt, being from New York City, Yonkers, New York, I traveled the subway systems. Me coming from Atlanta, Georgia, I traveled what they call the Chinese bus, coming from Atlanta, because me and my siblings, we have this every other month event where the siblings get together and we call it Sibling Saturdays. 7 of us, 6 boys, 1 girl, we get together every other month. So when I saw this, it reminded me of Sibling Saturday. So I found this particular t-shirt, very daring to me, because I ride these particular trains. The one goes to the borderline of Yonkers and the Bronx, and then this coming from Mount Vernon. I lived in Mount Vernon well, the 2. So this shirt, and I ride the 8 train, so this shirt really touched me in far as coming up for Sibling Saturday. So I just wanted to represent New York, something that just, the subway system definitely represents New York. Yonkers shirt, my hometown. I moved to Yonkers as a young teen. I think I was 14 or 15 years old at the time. From Mount Vernon, New York. Didn't want to come to Yonkers. The only thing I knew about Yonkers when I lived in the Bronx, heard about Yonkers Raceway all the way to Mount Vernon. I was used to those towns. I established friends, didn't want to move to Yonkers because all I knew was about the raceway out. I guess I was afraid of the unknown. Time went on, loved it, met new friends, new experiences, and I like Yonkers because, we got people that put us on the map. DMX, rest in peace, one of my favorite rappers. Knew him personally, good guy. I knew the Locks, also great rap group. Shout out to them, for the verses against Dipset, and shout out to Styles P, who I know personally, and Mary J. Blige, and also Yonkers was also a place that my mother, she was instrumental in establishing the Tenants Council in low-income housing, and she made a name for herself in low-income housing where she had the tenants be instrumental in desegregation, where they didn't want low-income housing in the east side. They did a movie about this called Show Me a Hero on HBO.
The city intentionally segregated its housing for 40 years.
This judge wants to take low-income housing and put it here in East Yonkers.
The trash, the drugs. We will die from what this idiot is trying to shove down our throat.
I live here, and I am nothing like what they describe.
And it was an actress who played my mother. She played 2 episodes of my mother, Sadie Young Jefferson. You can Google this, and you can look on IMDb. In fact, they actually dedicated a headstone where we lived at in Runyon Heights. Low-income housing out there on the other side, close by the east side, where they didn't want us, being there. And, my mother made a name for herself and left a legacy. So this is why Yonkers means so much to me. And all my siblings are there. Straight out of East Point. Well, East Point is part of Georgia, first city I moved to in Georgia. Didn't know nothing about it, didn't want to move there. Me and my ex-wife decided we needed a change. And we heard Atlanta had it going on back in 1999, 2000. So we decided we'd pack up all our stuff from Yonkers and move to Atlanta. But we found that there was a place on the outskirts of Atlanta called East Point. Coming from the hood, we moved here, and this was hood. We moved into a nice area, but it was more hood in Yonkers, so we settled in East Point. And East Point, believe it or not, is the #1 crime in Georgia. For crime, it's the #1 city for crime, but I still love it because they received me well. I didn't come there with an arrogant attitude, and the people that was there, I was able to get a job in East Point at a hotel. I've been living there for 18 years, and then I think the other 3 years I lived in College Park, and then 2 years in Atlanta. And so this East Point is dear to me, and I think Outkast, the rap group Outkast, and Goody Mob, I think they're from this area, East Point, College Park area. So straight out of East Point. It's my spot. My love of t-shirts stems from, I knew the weather was changing. I had a bunch of hoodies, different nice style of hoodies, so I got a lot of compliments on my different hoodies. So I say, you know what? I want to continue, being that it's spring and summer, so I want to continue with that same flow with the t-shirts, with the climate, the weather climate. And I just started seeing different cool t-shirts that represent my personality and me growing up. And so I wanted to display to the world, hey, when you see this t-shirt, this is me. This is my message to the world of who I'm representing. Now this t-shirt, love this brother. I mean, his music just puts me in that 1970 cool mode, that Mac mode from the Superfly era. And I grew up on his music as a kid, in the Bronx, New York. Curtis Mayfield, with his message and his music, he always was pushing inspiration, encouragement, from keep on pushing and keep on keeping on and move on up and we're a winner. I mean, he always pushed positive messages to the people that came up in the ghetto, and this is what I love about him. As I got old enough to understand the music and can identify with the music, I wanted to get this man t-shirt. It's unfortunate he had a bad accident in Atlanta at the time, and then that kind of, dwindled his health. And, rest in peace and shout out to him. But he developed me, as a person with his music, the message of his music from the instruments, and you can hear, every sound that resonates with my spirit, and that's why I got this shirt, and when people see it, they be like, oh, that's Curtis. Oh, man, it's a nice t-shirt. Oh, because I just love attention and I love conversations. If the music make you move and you just got a groove, call Isaac and play his music. Anyway, this is Isaac Hayes, and you cannot mention Curtis without mentioning Isaac Hayes. They came out to me as a child. I heard them both mostly played, and both of them was born in 1942. And they came out with both of them back-to-back hit movies. He came out with Shaft. He did the soundtrack to Shaft. Curtis did the soundtrack to Superfly. So I kind of can't wear one without the other. So this is why I like Isaac. Isaac is just, he's just like a sex symbol. First man to come out with the shaved head and the beard, and he represented masculinity, and women loved him, so I wanted to play his music so that can resonate within me, masculinity. Now, this shirt right here, why I like this one and why I purchased this one. I like it because it's Stevie Wonder. I mean, come on, who don't know Stevie? I mean, Eddie Murphy, used to play Stevie Wonder on Saturday Night Live, and this is the Stevie Wonder, at his peak, when he was doing, but I just love it. He don't even have no name on it. Everybody knows who this is, so that's why I bought it. It just represents, need no introduction. It's Stevie. DMX. This is a wild legend. Knew him personally. Rest in peace. Yeah, this, out of all the celebrities, this one really, touched me. And I always was a supporter of him, even before he became mainstream. I was always a supporter of him. I always knew he was going to make it big. And he changed the name of the game in hip-hop. He just was knocking out the competition like Deontay Wilder was knocking out his opponents. DMX was just on a whole nother level. So he is undisputed, will always be undisputed. And this shirt right here is just something unique. I've seen a lot of DMX shirts, but I've rarely seen this one. So I had to pick up this one. And, he represents YO. Always did. DMX. Rest in peace. Front to back, he was always complete. So that's why I bought this t-shirt. I'm Rick James. you know the rest. David Chappelle made that that phrase famous, you know. And when I look at this, that's what I want the world to know. But I wanted to, you know, say, instead of saying I'm Rick James, I'm Mark G. Young, you know. But anyway, Rick James, man, the funk man, his music, you know, touched me as a child. And, you know, Ghetto Life, love that song, Fired It Up, you know, just, you know, kind of. And Mary Jane, he was a musical genius, you know. And I just had to get this shirt when I saw it. This album, man, you know, really inspired me at a time of my life when I was a youth. You know, I was going through it, and this song, playing this song over and over, I mean, it's this album over and over, really gave me some strength, you know. So he's Rick James, rest in peace. And I like this album because it's, you know, it has the title Street Songs, and that particular song that touched my life was called Ghetto Life. And I grew up in the ghetto, and it inspired me, and it just gave me strength to survive in the ghetto as a youth. Now, this t-shirt, I ain't even get to wear it because the weather is changing, but I'm a fan of this particular guy. And who is in here? Let's see. What do we have in here that I did not get to wear? Nice and fresh. Prince, baby. This album here. Let me take this on off here. Give me a minute. Okay. Prince. Now, why did I purchase this one? I mean, Purple Rain. Such a powerful song back in 1984. 83, 84, I believe. And that just, you know, that pop just hit me. I mean, it hit me strong at the time, and plus it brought me through when I was in the service. I was in the service from 1984 to 1987, and Prince was popping then. And I heard some stories about him being a freak, and, you know, at the time, and he used to open up for Rick James, and they got some, you know, stories, and I saw this shirt, and I just had to have it. Prince. This shirt was given to me by the wardrobe personnel in a film that I did called Boss Kings and Queens. Written, produced, and directed by one of our old friends that we know, that from the film that we did Beyond the Bars that I shot with you, Tina Boykin, who was the actress that played in that film, the documentary that we did.
Our eyes lock, our fingers lock, our spirits lock. In the lockdown visiting room, we have sex through eyes, breath, words. In keeping with the visiting room directive, inmates and visitors may put arms on shoulders. We draw close. My visiting room beautiful diva outfit is carefully chosen to allow access. Big sleeves, deep pockets that ain't pockets, elastic waisted skirts, all kinds of clothing, openings, so your fingers can find other openings, and they do. We are in our world, far beyond the prison walls.
So I played character Dion, and they thought that it was a good idea that Dion wear this shirt because he's a king, being that the name of the title of the film is called Boss King and Queen. And he always teaches his son that you're a king, and he put that out there. So we wanted to make that message, you know, pop to the audience, to the public, that, you know, we're kings. So this is why this shirt is sentimental to me, because of the film I did, Boss Kings and Queens. Look out for it. I'm a big fan of Deontay Wilder, who's from Alabama. Super knockout artist. He's recorded as the hardest hitting heavyweight in heavyweight history. You know, you got your Foremans, your George Foremans, your Ernie Shavers, and I believe there's one more, Mike Tyson. And he came out like the 2011. He's He's an Olympian. He won the bronze in the U.S. Olympics, and I liked him because, the story that got him into boxing, his daughter had spina bifida. And so he was working these odd jobs, restaurants, delivering beer to different places. So he told his daughter, you know what, seeing her suffer, he says, I'm going to take up boxing, which was a little late. And he says, I'm going to, promise you I'm going to be the heavyweight champion. So in his rise, he knocked out all his opponents. I think he became 42 and 0, 40 and 0 before he went for the championship. He won the championship. He did knock the champion at the time, which was Berman Stavane. He did knock him out. But the next time he won the championship, the next time they fought, he knocked him out. So he just knocked out all his opponents. Now, Styles May fight. He came across this guy called Tyson Fury, his father named him after Mike Tyson. They called him the Gypsy King. They had 2 fights. The first fight was a draw. Deontay Wilder knocked him down, but he got a boxing lesson in the process, so they thought that he lost that fight, even though I thought the count was a little longer. He won that first fight. To me, I think Deontay won that fight. But then the second fight came. It was controversial with that. Deontay got his hind handed to him. I think Mark Reland, which was his trainer, who's also from Brooklyn, welterweight champion, who trained Deontay Wilder, was the head trainer at the time, threw in the towel, and Deontay got mad. It was a conspiracy thing. Felt like Tyson cheated with the glove. So then they had a third fight, which was last night, which made me get this shirt for Sibling Saturday. And I came represent because I knew he was going to do it. All excuses is out the window. 80%, 90% of everybody in the house was going for Deontay Wilder. But I had 2 odd nephews, wanted to go with the Gypsy King. And they were taping me while each time my expression, yeah. And then the last part, because he lost. He lost. Not lost, but he lost. Still Bomb Squad forever. Now, this t-shirt here means so much to me. I am so fascinated with the Egyptian pantheon of the gods and the goddesses, and this particular t-shirt is the god Horus, who is the son of Osiris, who was a king in Lower and Upper Egypt, and his wife, which is her real name is Aset, but they call her Isis. The Greek is Isis, and Asar is Osiris's real name, and his name is Haru, but this is Horus. And I like this particular t-shirt because it exudes the power, and he was represented and for strength, intelligence, and he was a warrior. He was the one when avenged his father in the stories that they talked about. The brother became jealous of the father, which was brother name was Seth or Satuk, and Satuk became jealous of the father, and they said that he, gave his brother a party. And then he chopped, gave his brother a sarcophagus or a coffin and told him to, try it out. And then they said he chopped up the father. And then as the wife came and, he spread the 14 pieces throughout the Nile. And, that's part of what the story told. And then the wife came and she was the goddess of magic and she was a nurturer. And then they became pregnant when they engaged in sexual intercourse, and they had Horus, which she represented. If you go to Egypt, you see the statue, you see that there's a woman, a black woman, holding a baby, which they have in the Christian pantheon, but they said that in Africa, they showed a woman nurturing her young. That's supposed to have been Horus, and this is why this is so sentimental and great to me, and I feel like wearing this and I represent it.
I believe that t-shirts are a silent strength. And I believe that t-shirts are secret powers, and you can actually wear them and say a whole lot.
T-shirts are art. This is saying something, right? Every T-shirt, everything someone wears, puts on their body is a piece of art. Someone designed it, drew it, created it. So it's a piece of art. So I'm walking with a piece of art on my chest. I'm sending a message. The significance of this shirt is it reads black male. I am a black male. The shirt is black with black lettering on the shirt. But as you can see, or in certain lights, the letters and the words disappear. And it speaks to the invisibility of the black male. We're here and you see it, but you don't quite see it. You don't quite see us. It was part of an exhibit at the Whitney Museum, the old Whitney Museum up on the Upper East Side of Manhattan. And it dealt with the black male experience through all of American history, through slavery to modern day, the influence of music, hip hop, Prince, James Brown, sports figures, sports legends, politicians. And I think the contribution that artists such as Michael Jackson and his sort of feminization, some may say, and then you look at Quincy Jones, or you look at a James Brown, who was, one of his major songs was Black and Proud. And something about James Brown was his record label wanted him to say, I'm black, but I'm proud, and he refused. He wanted the line to say, I'm black and I'm proud. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So it was those sort of representations that were also quite interesting. And being able to stand in that space, standing on those shoulders, where I stand now, and seeing what everyone has done before me to get to a place where I can feel really proud and be really proud of who I am and where I come from, which is not slavery. I come from someplace far beyond that, before slavery ever happened. So I think it's just I thought it was a very interesting exhibit. I think it's an interesting T-shirt. And then when we look at modern times today, still how black men are treated, disrespected. When do we ever hear about black males really in society unless they're committing a crime for the most part? It's very rare that there is a museum quality exhibit exploring black men and the representations in contemporary society. We're not typically celebrated. I would say the part of the exhibit that touched me the most was the security guards, seeing security guards. And I go to a lot of museums, so seeing security guards who typically are undervalued. I mean, we walk into exhibits, we walk right past the security guards, we walk up to the artwork. They're there, but they're not there. But then here they are guarding multi-million-dollar pieces of work. I think that juxtaposition was really quite interesting. I think that was really quite profound, actually. And also think about this. They're wearing a security uniform, but how much do they really get paid to guard these pieces of work, this artwork in this museum? So I thought that was quite interesting.
Have you ever felt? Are you listening?
No, honestly, I feel great wearing it. I think, honestly, when I'm wearing it in the day, I mean, I have a lot of lights on me now. People cannot read it. People don't see. They think I'm wearing just a black T-shirt. And then they can sort of see something, and then they get close and they realize what they're reading, and then it dawns on them, oh, black male. Now, if I wear a Brooks Brothers suit, or if I'm going to work at the television station and I'm in a white shirt and tie, it's an entirely different interaction that I have with people. All this can come off. All of this comes off, and my skin is what it is. I mean, what are we? It's all a costume at the end of the day, right? It's a costume. It's clothing, but it's something that I have chosen to put on to represent me as I move through the streets of Brooklyn. It's somewhat of armor. It's somewhat of a costume, but more of armor, I would say. So to answer your question, how do I feel? I feel good. I feel good and proud to be who I am. T-shirts are art. This is saying something, right? Every T-shirt, everything someone wears, puts on their body is a piece of art. Someone designed it, drew it, created it. So it's a piece of art. So I'm walking with a piece of art on my chest. I'm sending a message. And I mean, these letters are black and bold, in a bold font, which means you're coming through. I'm coming through. Unapologetic.